an answer?
We should introduce ourselves.
Let's.
I'm Travis Willingham.
Okay. I'll be Michelle Ruff.
Yeah.
And I'm Yuri Lowenthal. Or you might know me by my other name, Vic McDerpider.
Look at this beautiful audience.
That went very, very well. We should stop now while we're ahead.
You guys know, do we need to introduce ourselves? Do you know?
No.
We're good?
We need to say real quick.
Hi, I'm Mary Elizabeth McGlynn.
I'm Brina Palencia. Wendee Lee.
I'm Yuri Lowenthal. Second that. Vic Mignogna. Nice. Would you like to MC for us and maybe call on some questions and we'll see how that goes?
Alright.
Pressure on her.
Let's start with the guy in the black shirt.
Alright, this is Vic Mignogna. You said I was here earlier for your when you were dressed as a
Text each other all day.
Yes.
meeting Leonard Nimoy, and how did he react?
Oh my gosh! I got to meet Leonard Nimoy. It was just awesome. It was just amazing. I met him when I was like 12 years old. And yes, you remembered me. No. No, but no, he came up backstage, you know, before I went out to introduce him, and I just introduced myself and I said, you know, I got the chance to meet you when I was very young, and this is just a great privilege of my life to get to introduce you.
Did you tell him that you groped his shirt?
You know, I overlooked that. It slipped my mind for a moment, but yes, I actually did. I got to hold in my hands, you guys, and examine an original first season Spock tunic from the original series.
At first I thought you were going to say like that you got to cradle him or something. Hold him in my hands.
Well, I was working up to
Cradle
that
him
point.
like a baby.
That was the climax of the story I was working on. But no, so it was just a great privilege, and he's awesome. He really is an awesome guy. Thank you for asking, sir.
Alright, how about the girl with the mask on?
What scenes were the most difficult and the most fun to perform?
In general?
In any anime you've done.
Difficult and fun. And a hush fell over the room.
Brina?
Well, one scene in particular that was really difficult for me to do, but very rewarding, and I was really glad that we did it the way that we did. What the heck is that?
Apparently, the red alert has been sounded.
Fire alarm! Everyone out. Just kidding. Would probably have to be. How many of you have seen Summer Wars? The scene with the pinky holding when she's sobbing. We did probably like I think 6 takes of that whole thing, and I was sobbing in real life every time that we did it, and like my shirt was wet from my tears. So it was really, you know, difficult emotionally because for those of you who are not at the last panel or at my previous panel, that was a very important story to me because I did have such a close relationship with my grandmother in real life. And so I was drawing from personal experience. So it's difficult whenever you do that, but it's also very rewarding because I think it ends up making a really awesome performance. I mean, not that I'm awesome, but you know what I mean. You are! I felt really good about it.
There was an episode of Ghost in the Shell called Jungle Cruise, which was just terrifying to me because the worst nightmare I'd ever had was a Jack the Ripper where it was a skinning alive dream, and it was really terrifying. And then when I saw that episode, it was really hard for me, you know, they kept saying detach emotionally, and it was really hard as an actress for me to do that because it was so much like the most terrifying dream that I had ever had in my life. Now in the dream it turns out that the man with the giant hat and the cape that was doing it was actually the Sandeman Port man, which I didn't realize at the time, and nobody gets it. Anyway, but that was really hard because I was so angry that that these women were forced to watch themselves be killed by this murderer, and it was really hard to disassociate myself from that, and hard to see that much violence against women and not react to it. So, nothing like bringing down the room. Okay, next.
I'm going to turn it over to Wendee. Bring it.
I just have an awkward experience on a game that a lot of people in Los Angeles worked on, where the director insisted on us using large quantities of water in the booth, and I was doing some kind of toad that spoke with water spilling out of its mouth, and everybody that went through this basically quit the game. Nobody could handle it because we were choking and coughing and spewing, and I was just afraid of getting electrocuted with all this water. Yes,
It was a waterboarding game.
it wasn't.
Hey! Brought to you by Dick Cheney.
The stuff that's hard is the screaming, the, you know, reaching deep emotionally, getting it really close to perfect and then having to do it again. That stuff is a little fatiguing. It's the vocal fatigue that's hard for me. The emotional stuff,
Yeah.
I'll dig down in that well anytime and
Yeah, as
give
weird
it
as
all.
it sounds, it actually is really fun. Like,
Yeah.
dig down into that and cry.
That's the only time I've broken down, actually.
Stuff, yeah.
Really broken down. We did this game, and it's 30 sessions of screaming and screaming and screaming. And I direct all day and go to Technicolor and do that all night for like, since I think February till about 2 weeks ago. And I just cried. I mean, it was just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Just pick up the lever already, you know? It's just like,
Well, speaking of screaming, my answer to your question would be anything Dragon Ball Z.